Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk About Strange. Thank you for joining me here today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We're glad to have you here. We've had a lot of phenomenal stories that we've shared on here. We're coming up on 200 videos and 2 years, or I think we're coming up on 2 full years with the channel. And I think that'll be November 3rd or something like that. Will be 2 full years. The channel has just grown exponentially. I have all of you guys to thank for it. There's been some people with the channel that have been here from the very beginning, and we've had an absolute roller coaster ride of information and shares and people here. Our TAS friends and family that have grown here with the channel, with me. It's just been a phenomenal ride. I really appreciate you guys all being here. I want to let you guys know that this is going to be a little different today. This is the first physical paper story that I think we've ever received. I got this in my P.O Box, P.O Box 5, Lyons, New York, 14489, is where we get our Fan Mail Friday stuff. So we haven't been doing that for a while, but I went there and checked my mail, and I don't check it very often anymore. I haven't been. And this was in it. So kind of blew my mind. And I think it's going to blow your mind as well. So stick around. But anyway, with that, if you guys have a story you want to send to me, we normally do it through the email. And it's talkaboutstrange2024@gmail.com. I stuttered there. So it's talkaboutstrange2024@gmail.com. And we'll share your stories. So this one is a little bit different than we normally have. I don't know what to make of this entirely. I can't wait to get your guys' thoughts on this. It's kind of I guess I'll just dive right into it. So anyway, again, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, love to have you here and be a part of our family. All right, let's get started. Dear Mr. Strange, hello, my name is Tyler. I hope you're sitting down when you read this message. You may even be wondering why in the world I would share this information with you, and ask yourself yet again why you, like you always do. I do. Several times I've had to ask that. Fact of the matter is that even though I've taken some serious precautions to protect my identity, if the government wants to find you, they will. But I felt like I had to share this information and couldn't think of anyone else I'd rather share it with other than you. I hope you don't mind that I used your P.O. box to get this to you. I don't trust emails, not even anonymous ones. Plus, even if anyone is wondering, I even used gloves and someone else's printer to print this letter. Okay, why, you might ask, laugh out loud. Here it is. First, it won't be any surprise that I'm hoping Claire hears this. If anybody can use this information, it's her and her team. With everything they have been through over the years, including her recent run-in with the actual MIB, I think she might find this information very interesting. My second reason is I've watched all of your videos from the beginning, and like so many of us here, I feel like I know you personally. I have also watched all of your live shows / podcasts. The people here love and trust you as a person and as a safe, reliable platform. You might not be as big as some of these other platforms out there. I think with your kind heart and genuine personality, you will be a lot sooner than you might think. So please keep doing what you do and stay true. We all really appreciate you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you. Okay, let me dive into this. Up until recently, I lived near Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I had a few really good friends there during my 4-year stay. Hint, hint. One of them particularly had become sort of a best friend. We went through a lot of shit together and did a lot of partying together as well. We both had girls. I had a few, actually. But he was pretty stuck on one particular girl. He was obsessed with her, you could say. They even talked about marriage and kids for a while. I can't say I blame him, though. This girl was gorgeous, smart, strong, and did I mention smoking hot? No. Anyway, But she was an army brat to some very important person. Very important. I never met him myself, but my buddy did. He described him as scary serious and smelt of Stetson cologne and cigars. He sounds like a serious guy. Then one day, out of the blue, he called her and her number had been changed. He went to her house and it was empty. Without any warning, her family just uprooted and moved away. He asked around and no one had a clue. Even all of her social media accounts were gone. He was crushed in a big way. I tried to remind him that she did tell us that her and her family moved a lot and have had to completely cut ties with everyone. But he didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to accept that she could do that to him. Anyway, he inevitably ended up doing it to me. Only he told me he was thinking about leaving and then one day he was gone. It sucks when your life takes that big of a turn and leaves you sort of empty. Anyway, boo-hoo, right? Laugh out loud. No, I get it, man. That sucks. It does suck. So that's the backstory. Here comes the good stuff. Like I said, we all hung out a lot and did a lot of partying together. One night we were chilling out by the pool. I'm not going to lie, we were pretty lit and it was way too quiet. Shit, my girlfriend was sleeping in the chair next to me. Out of the blue, my buddy's girlfriend sits up and says, "Fuck it." Sorry, guys. Catching us all off guard, she says, "Can I trust you guys with a secret?" We're like, "Hell yeah. Check it out." We knew she was savvy to some deep shit, but she never shared anything before. So naturally, we were all like, "Hell yeah, let's hear it." She says, "You're not going to believe me anyway." I was like, "Yeah, sure we will. Come on, spill it." But my buddy says, "Wait, are you sure? I don't want you to get in any trouble." She laughed and said, "Yeah, I don't care. I'm bored as shit. Besides, I don't think this will matter much to anyone anyway. It's crazy." Little does she know, right? But we know. It's not crazy. It's just strange. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I see what you did there. So she leans forward and says, "Do you guys believe in Bigfoot?" And we all started laughing at her, but she stayed true and said, "No, I'm very serious." My buddy said, "Yeah, sure, I do. Right along with aliens and Santa Claus." I stopped him and said, "Wait a minute. You seriously don't believe in Bigfoot and aliens?" He laughed and said, "No, do you?" I said, "Yeah, for sure. Sure I do." He shook his head and said, "Dude, you must be stoned." The girl looked at him and said, "I'm sorry to break it to you, but he's right. The government has been hiding that sort of stuff for years." He asked her if she has ever seen a Bigfoot or an alien. She said, "No, not up close, but I may or may not have seen some pretty compelling pictures," which he added a picture. So we'll get to that. But that's not all. Last week, I overheard my father on a conference call with somebody way up on the food chain. I asked her who she thought it was, and she admitted she wasn't sure, but there were very few people that her father answered to with that tone of respect in his voice, one being the president. But this wasn't him, because I would have recognized his voice instantly. Interesting. I guess we probably all would on that. My buddy said, "Wait, your father actually knows the president?" She just nodded her head, "Yeah, of course," like it was just a normal thing. She said, "Anyway, listen, I shouldn't be telling you guys this, but whomever it was on the other end told my father that the president has taken a special interest in Sasquatch / Bigfoot creatures and is considering putting them on the endangered species list." He said something about enacting the T. Roosevelt bill. That I find interesting. I asked her what that was, and she said at the time she didn't know, but later asked her dad, and he told her that Theodore Roosevelt secretly wrote a bill that would put not just Bigfoot, but several cryptids on the endangered species list. He told her that President Roosevelt to date was the biggest governmental advocate for these creatures, and that all of those forest parks he took part in were set up to house and protect them. almost the same as designating land for Indians, only this was all on a down low. She said, take for instance, Yellowstone National Park. Do you know that it is so big that even with all the professional explorers that go there, they have only explored 10 to 15% of the park forests. These parks are massive for a reason. That's interesting. All right. She continued telling us about the conference call and said that her father asked him why now. We have been pulling on that thread for decades. What changed? The man said, our boss received a message from someone recently that he found very interesting. It was the same person that reached out during his first term and has reached out to almost all the previous presidents that I can think of. But this is the first time I've seen any of them put any real stock in it. He didn't read me in on the entire message, but insisted that if these creatures are in fact out there and are being hunted and pushed into extinction, we can't have that, not on my watch. Okay. I mean, people have been trying to get that done for a long time. He asked me to personally see to it that he receives every piece of information that we have been keeping and wants it on his desk by the end of the week. You, my friend, know more about this than anyone. So what say you? Can you put something together? My father asked him how long he would have. The man said, not long. I'm afraid he might be going public. Wow. My father said that could end his career, and the man said back, I quote, I don't think anything on this planet or any other planet for that matter could end this president's career. This will just go down as another notch in his belt or slide off like eggs on Teflon. For real. My father just said, yeah, you're probably right. Give me 72 hours. And that was basically the end of the phone call. My buddy still didn't buy into it. He thought that her father was messing with her, but I asked her what she meant when she said that she heard straight from her dad about that T. Roosevelt bill. She said she told her father she heard part of the conversation and wanted to know why the man had said that her father, of all people, would know about Bigfoot stuff. She said he was pissed, but that was not the first time it happened. What a brat. He said it's not a big secret the government has been hiding information like this for years. There are things in this world that people would prefer to be oblivious to. The unfortunate fact of the matter is, I was personally there to see some of these humanoid creatures with my own two eyes. So because of who I am and what I saw, it became my job to bury the evidence, so to speak. I asked him what he saw, but he really didn't want to tell me. So I pressed and begged and smiled until he told me. He said shortly after he was enlisted full time, he was deployed to Mount St. Helens after an eruption in 1980. He said he saw things there that he had prayed to forget ever since. Things that he refused to describe to me and was sworn to never speak of publicly. That was the first of what would become several occurrences that would inevitably lead him to where he is today. He told her that very few presidents have ever had any real knowledge about the existence of Bigfoot nor cared, with the exception of President T. Roosevelt. As far as he knew, Mr. Roosevelt was the first to take any real action, but that Jimmy Carter, believe it or not, had a family of them that frequently visited his farmland and believes that President Carter and his wife may have also secretly appropriated land for the creatures to live on. Now, that's something I never heard before. Have you guys? It continues. All right. All I could say was, wow, I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but I always wanted to be a believer, and this just says it all. I asked my buddy if he believed her now, and he said, I believe her, but I still don't believe that there is a big, hairy humanoid creature that lives in the woods, and nobody, and I mean nobody, has any real proof. Even with all the hunters and hikers, He said, it's funny how every single picture is blurry and no one has found their bodies or captured one. I just said, whatever, man. You'll find out someday, and I hope I'm there to see your face when you do. That was 72 hours before his girl and their family up and left. Then he left 2 weeks later, and I left a month later. It's been just over 2 months. So that was 72 hours before his girl and her family up and left. He left 2 weeks later, and I left about a month later. It's been just over 2 months. Interesting. I wonder how long ago. So that's everything I heard. I have no way to prove a single word of this is true, but I know there are people out there that do know whether or not it is. Can you imagine all this coming out after all these years? First, they admit that aliens are real, and now Bigfoot. Come on. How cool would it be? But I do wonder, though, if the government did go public, would it make it easier for them to protect the Bigfoot people or harder, or would they at all? I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this, Steve, if you decide to share it. Thank you for doing what you do, Tyler. Now hang on there. It's not done. One more thing. I strongly contemplated whether or not to send you this photo, but again, it's too damn important. I'll leave it up to you whether or not to share it. But just in case you're wondering how I got it, when she told us what was happening, and my buddy wasn't buying into it, she pulled out her phone and showed us a few of those photos, those pics that she snuck out of the file. I quickly sent one to my phone before she took it back. Laugh out loud. I don't know. Maybe this is why they left abruptly. If I was you, I'd recommend to burn this after you're done with it. And this is what I received from him. It looks like, I don't know if you got a few pictures here and put them together, or if so the file she had, I'm assuming was on a computer file, and she laid it out, took pictures. I don't know, but I'll post it on the video here. I mean, I don't know what to make of it. It's pretty wild. I mean, if these are real, if these are actually real, I mean, this is wild stuff. I don't know if I should be blurring their faces out or not, though, of these people. But anyway, there it is. That's interesting. Tyler, you're right. If they want to find you, they will. And it's not the actual government I'd be worried about. I think it'd be your buddy's girlfriend's father will probably kick your ass for this. I mean, there's no way of tracing him or her down or anything based on what you've given us here, and you've given us the information that you have. But I mean, wow. I mean, that'd be wild. So if that was 2 months ago, we haven't heard anything yet. So I wonder what happened. I wonder, this stuff has been rattling around on their desks and all this stuff has been going on. But to consider them actually going down on an endangered species, being protected, I wonder if that would change anything as far as like people investigating and just, going out looking for them, and if that still will be allowed. I don't see why it wouldn't be, but wild stuff. Thanks for sending that to us. Really cool. Yeah, I will, I mean, there's no point burning it. I just shared the whole thing. So whatever there is there, it won't matter. I'll put that in a safe place, very safe place away from here. And, but that's what it is anyway. Listen, thanks guys for, sticking around and hearing that. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. Wild stuff. And like I said, and maybe I didn't say it, I did another recording this morning. Really, really cool, really good story that, from a guy named Brian. So I'll see if I get that done, I'll post it on the end of this, or I'll tack it to it later on. But either way, really good story. We'll get them shared. Oh, Excuse me, it's getting late. It's been a hell of a day. Thanks for joining me. Have a great night. I will see you again really soon.